From this Easter egg that's technically not even supposed to be there, to this Easter egg that's literally a crime made of bricks. These are 22 Easter eggs you missed in LEGO. To kick things off, let's take a look at a fun little secret hiding in the Death Star trash compactor diorama set. Fans of the Star Wars series will remember this scene from A New Hope, where Luke, Han, Chewie, and Leia get trapped in a trash compactor while trying to escape the Death Star. Not only does this set have movable walls, but it's also chock full of Easter eggs. From Han Solo's famous quote, "One thing's for sure, we're all gonna be a lot thinner," to even showing R2-D2 and C-3PO on the backside, who are trying to make sure that the rebels don't get squashed. But if all of that isn't enough for you, then just take a look at this. They even went as far as to include the Dianaga that lives inside the trash compactor. Overall, it's a pretty great Easter egg, but it's got nothing on some of the other ones in this video, so be sure to watch until the end. Jurassic Park is one of the most famous movies of all time, but most people who watched the series might have missed how the dinosaurs in the movie were actually created. In the movie, it's said that the awesome dinos we see on screen were created by using parts of salvaged dinosaur DNA and using frog DNA to fill in the gaps. Well, LEGO took a liking to this fact and decided to throw a frog piece in the Jurassic Park T-Rex Rampage set. This level of attention to detail is what makes LEGO sets so great, and the same thing can be said for the next set on my list. The United States Capitol building is one of the most important locations in the entire country. So when LEGO decided to launch a set based on the building in 2016, they took a lot of time to make sure that a bunch of important details were included in the set. That meant adding an entire interior to show the Hall of Statues, which, as the name suggests, contains large statues of some of our nation's greatest people, from Dwight Eisenhower to Thomas Edison and even Amelia Earhart. There are a bunch of American heroes in the Hall of Statues. It might not be visible at first glance, but all you have to do is take the dome off the top and you'll be able to see it just fine. Let's move on from that though, and look at one of my favorite Easter eggs LEGO has ever made. This is the LEGO Homer Simpson Brickhead set. Sets in this theme are famously known for having parts on the inside. Every Brickhead set has a brain, but Homer's is a little different. Most fans of The Simpsons know that Homer is lazy, unprofessional, and just flat out dumb. His heart is in the right place, but he's lacking a lot in the brain department. Because of this, LEGO did something really funny. Most characters have a 2x2 pink block for their brain, but for Homer, they gave him a 1x1 block instead. This is a pretty funny Easter egg, if I do say so myself. But let's move on to the next one. It's always a good day when LEGO really gets into a franchise and pays homage to even the smallest detail. Before I move on to the next segment, I want to take a minute to thank the sponsor of this video, Raycon. I'm sure you've heard about Raycon in the past, but there's never been a better time to buy a pair of their earbuds. They just launched their upgraded model of the best-selling everyday earbuds, and they're the real deal. I personally love using them to watch YouTube and listen to music when I go on walks, and with the brand new features they've implemented, it's never been easier. If I somehow managed to drain the 32-hour-long battery life, I'd only have to charge them for 10 minutes to get an extra 90 minutes of battery life. And if I'm out for a walk and it starts raining, I don't have to worry, because the everyday earbuds are now IP66 water resistant. The everyday earbuds now also have active noise cancellation, so if all I want to hear is whatever's coming out of my earbuds, I can. The best part though is that they're super affordable and super comfortable too. Seriously guys, there's never been a better time to check out Raycons. So click the link in the description or go to buyraycon.com/minifigured to get 15% off your Raycon purchase plus free shipping. Alright, back to the video. And that's exactly what they did when making the Clone Trooper Command Station set. In the movies, Order 66 was the cue for all the clones to turn on their allies, attack the Jedi Knights, and begin the Great Jedi Purge. And to honor that amazing scene, the set has exactly 66 pieces. While there's a chance that this was purely coincidental, it's more likely that the set designer was a die-hard Star Wars fan and did it deliberately. Now, this Easter egg is based on a pretty gruesome event in Star Wars, but this next one is just as bad. This is the Portal of Atlantis set, launched all the way back in August of 2010, and on its own, it's a great set. But if you manage to also get your hands on the 2007 Deep Sea Treasure Hunter set, then you might have noticed something a little interesting. Both of these sets share a minifigure, and in the corner of the Portal of Atlantis set, you'll notice a skeleton that coincidentally has the exact same getup as the rider from the Treasure Hunter set. Both of them even share the exact same helmet. See, I wasn't kidding when I said this Easter egg was gruesome, but it isn't the only Easter egg with some adult themes. If you look closely at the LEGO Detectives Office set, you'll notice that all the minifigures got together to smuggle cookies into the city. On the right, there's a woman in a red dress who's the one making the cookies. She prepares them at her home and then hides them in barrels so they can be transported discounted easily. From there, these cookies are purchased by other residents all over the city. The best part about this Easter egg, though, is that this cookie operation was being run right under the detective's nose. It feels almost unfair to call this an Easter egg, considering just how much effort was put into it. But let's move on to an Easter egg that almost no one noticed. In episode 7 of the Star Wars trilogy, there's a scene where Finn the Stormtrooper has blood on his helmet. This version of Finn became super popular because, like, come on, doesn't that look sick? Anyways, episode 7 of Star Wars took over 10 years to release, and as you can imagine, there was a crazy amount of hype around it. LEGO took this as an opportunity to make the LEGO Star Wars The Force Awakens game, and this is where the Easter egg comes in. Since this is the movie where Finn had blood on his helmet, LEGO had to do something to censor it. So instead of there being blood, there was a green splotch of food smacked right onto his helmet. As per usual with LEGO games, there are a ton of jokes that were never in the movie they were made off of, and Finn's helmet is definitely one of them. LEGO absolutely loves doing stuff like this, but there's something they might love even more. If there's one thing that can be said about LEGO, it's that they absolutely love making forts. Back in 2015, they released the Nexo Knights themed Fortrix set, which had the numbers 375 and 6075 on top of the front gate. Eventually, fans managed to figure out that this was a reference to LEGO's iconic Yellow Castle set, which had the set number 375. On top of this, the set was also sold under the set number 6075 for 2 years during 1981 and 1983. These are some insane facts that only true LEGO fanatics could figure out. But enough about this. Let's move on to the next Easter egg. LEGO has been creating Marvel-themed sets for a long time now, and while I could talk all day about the number of details these sets have, there was something else that caught my eye in the Beware the Vulture set. This set contains the Shocker van, and if you look closely, the license plate reads as AC-JR10. The JR in that license plate comes from Justin Ramsden, the person who designed the set. LEGO actually has a tradition that every license plate should contain the initials of the set designer, so you can find this in just about any LEGO set that has a car in it. Up next, let's talk about one of the coolest LEGO Star Wars Easter eggs. In the movie Return of the Jedi, when the group was trying to rescue Han Solo from Jabba the Hutt, there was an awesome scene where R2-D2 launched Luke Skywalker's lightsaber right out of his head. So when LEGO created the original R2-D2 set a few years back in 2021, they added a 2-scale version of Luke's lightsaber hidden inside R2's head. This is honestly a super cool Easter egg, but the next one is way cooler. LEGO has been adding more sets to its LEGO Ideas line over the past few years, and one of these sets is the NASA Apollo Saturn V set, which on its own is a really solid set and gives young builders a chance to learn more about how these spaceships are actually built. These sets also have some really cool details, like the fact that the Saturn V set contains exactly 1,969 pieces, to reference the year 1969 when the US landed on the moon. Though not all Easter eggs are this wholesome, so let's talk about a time LEGO taught kids about something they probably shouldn't have. LEGO's a family-friendly brand. They have unicorns for the kids and an Easter egg of money laundering for the adults. In the Brick Bank set, as the name suggests, there's a bank, along with some other buildings like a laundromat. The Easter egg here is when you put money in the washing machine. If you actually try to put anything inside of it, it just drops right into the bank. This is a pretty obscure reference about how criminals use businesses like laundromats to turn their money quote-unquote clean, and then can just go to the bank and withdraw it without any issues. It's one of the most unknown details to ever be put in a LEGO set, but it's definitely not there for kids. So instead, let's talk about a time LEGO paid respects to an amazing actor. This is the Ghostbusters Firehouse set from 2016, and this set still holds up really well today. It has a ton of Easter eggs in every nook and cranny. Like on the poster of Manhattan in the background, the pin marks the exact location of the firehouse, or the little arcade game in the corner referencing the Marshmallow Man. But most importantly of all, on the pin board, there are two amazing Easter eggs. The first one are the initials MB, which belong to the set's designer, Marcos Bessa. And the second detail is a note which reads RIP HR, which is a small tribute to the actor Harold Ramis, who played Egon Spengler in the movies. Unfortunately, Ramis passed away in 2014, but putting him in a LEGO set is a great way to honor his memory. But now, let's move on to a LEGO Easter egg that spans across decades. LEGO has been around for nearly a century now, and started all the way back in 1932. They weren't making bricks back then though. They were actually making wooden toys, and one of their first toys was this yellow duck, which was made all the way back in 1935. Almost 9 decades later, in LEGO's 5th anniversary set, Megapolis City, that very same duck can be found, and it's hidden in plain sight. It's attached to a pole near the Ferris wheel, which is pretty hard to spot if you don't know what you're looking for. Whoever did this clearly has a lot of LEGO knowledge. I mean, this duck is old. Up next, let's talk about the time LEGO referenced real life. In the Rainforest Animals set, it's hard to miss this beautifully designed parrot. But if you're gonna have a parrot, you need parrot food, right? The set also comes with 3 brown pellets that are meant to be bird food. But if you try to feed the parrot, you'll find out that what goes in must always come out. Yeah, this bird literally poops out the food right after you feed it to him. This is a pretty funny Easter egg, but the next one might honestly be funnier. In the LEGO Marvel Superheroes game, there is an achievement named Don't I Know You, which you unlock the first time you group up as Captain America and the Human Torch. It's a fun little Easter egg related to how both characters are played by Chris Evans in their respective movies. Though some people speculate that it could also be related to how the first Human Torch fought Cap all the way back in the 1940s. But either way, it's a nice little detail for the die-hard Marvel fans out there. If you're a big Star Wars fan and an Indiana Jones fan, then you probably would have noticed this Easter egg in the Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark movie. Inside the tomb that held the Ark of the Covenant, there's a wall covered in hieroglyphics and some art showing the characters R2-D2 and C-3PO. In light of this, when LEGO made a set inspired by the movie, they made sure to include this little Easter egg for fans to find. I was super glad to see that LEGO carried this over into the set. But this isn't the only Easter egg LEGO took from a movie. Back in 2008, LEGO released the Speedboat Rescue set. For this set, LEGO took a lot of inspiration from movies and added just about whatever they wanted. One of the movies that they looked at was the Austin Powers series, where Dr. Evil famously asked for sharks with giant laser beams attached to their heads. And wouldn't you know it, right on the cover, we can clearly see Dr. Evil's dreams brought to life. It's not confirmed whether this was directly inspired by the movies or whether the set designers just thought it would be a cool thing to add. But either way, it's a pretty funny Easter egg. Moving on from that, let's talk about one more Easter egg from the LEGO Marvel Superheroes video game. The thing is, back in the 1960s, Marvel ran a special fan club called Merry Marvel Marching Society to promote its comics and give special prizes to some of their most dedicated fans. The club even had its own theme song, and to a lot of people's surprise, LEGO added this song not once, but twice to the Marvel Superheroes video game. First, you can hear the song in the background during the end credits of the game, but the second place is actually across your media bar. All you have to do is scroll over and the game will play the song for as long as you want. I have to say, that's pretty cool. I didn't even know that theme song existed. Up next, let's talk about one of the best known inside jokes in LEGO sets: frogs. If you've made a ton of LEGO sets, then you've probably noticed how random frog pieces will be thrown in here and there. It's not certain whether this is meant to be a fun challenge or if there's another reason behind it, but in the last decade, designers have added frog pieces in as many sets as possible. The most famous one out of these is the bonsai tree set, where all the leaves are just pink colored frogs. If that doesn't change how you look at LEGO sets, I don't think anything will. But if you thought that was bad, I'm about to change how you look at minifigures too. Have you ever looked at your minifigures and realized that many of them age with time? In the LEGO world, 1 year is equivalent to around 2 months for us, which means that they age 6 times as fast as we do. And this is really apparent by looking at the LEGO City sets. In a Fun in the Park City People pack from 2016, we can see a young couple pushing their baby around the park. Then in the 2018 City Pickup and Caravan set, we can spot the same family, and the toddler has grown to around 12 or 13 years old. Then finally, 3 years later, we can find that same boy again in the City Holiday Camper Van set, where he's now married and has a son of his own. Honestly, this is one of the coolest Easter eggs in all of LEGO, and really puts some perspective about how these characters have a life of their own. What was your favorite Easter egg in this video? Be sure to let me know down in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe.